Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dishing with Stephanie's Dish, the podcast where we talk to people in the food space, many times cookbook authors. And today we have Tim Mulligan with us, and he is the author of a book called A Perfect 10 Party Edition. There's 70 recipes for making hosting parties a breeze. Tim, you look really fun.
Well, thank you. I try. Thanks.
Absolutely. No, you have like this whole book full of fun party ideas, drinks, great recipes, suggestions. You even got some games. I just really thought this cookbook was a gas.
Good. I'm glad.
Where are you from?
I live in Palm Springs, California. I work during the day in LA, so I'm pretty much all over Southern California, but my home base is Palm Springs.
Okay, that's pretty awesome because Palm Springs has a lot of great parties.
I hope so. I like to
Yes.
throw a lot of them. So yeah.
Do you live in one of those cool Palm Spring houses in the movie district?
It's close. It's I love, we all have pools and live the life here. So yes, definitely.
Yeah, all the beautiful houses. And in case you don't know, I think my favorite story about Palm Springs, and maybe you can confirm or deny, is that the reason that so many celebrities lived there was because they were exactly like 120 miles or whatever the distance was outside of Los Angeles. And the newspapers that paid their stipends for their entertaining didn't go as far as Palm Springs. So all the movie stars figured that out and they could live a life without the paparazzi in Palm Springs.
Yeah, I heard that. Because you mentioned the radius and the distance, it wasn't too far that it was still within their contract. And so it just became like a refuge and hideaway for the Hollywood set. And
Yeah.
it still feels like it's timeless. Still feels like the 50s, 60s here, so it's understandable why it was so appealing.
What was your history in terms of why you wanted to write a book, not only with just recipes, but kind of organized by themes and parties?
Yeah, I've been I've been cooking for years. Not professionally trained. I did start my working world career in hospitality, managing restaurants, bars, waiting tables, and taken many courses and certifications over the years. I've never been a trained chef. I really am a home cook. But during I would say, and I work during the day. I'm a lawyer. I'm a human resources officer, and I have been doing that for decades. But it was COVID. Unfortunately, it was for such a bad time that. But if anything good came out of it for me, it was the quarantining process and being stuck in this house. I tried to use this as a positive way and say, what have I always wanted to do? And cross off my bucket list. And for me, there's two things really. One was to write a play. I love plays. So I spent the first year, 2020, knocking out a play. I did it. That play got published. It's going to New York in April. That was an amazing thing.
That's so excellent.
Yeah. And then the second thing was I wanted to write a cookbook. I've been cooking forever. Like I said, I wanted to share with the world some of my favorite recipes that I've curated over the years. I'm a collector. I'm a curator. Some of these are recipes I've had since I was a kid. Others I've collected along the way. And these are recipes that I have made countless numbers of times over the years, over the decades. I've tweaked the recipes. I've made them work for me. And I really thought it'd be great to share that with the world. And also write a cookbook that was for people like me who are busy, who maybe work all day or raise a family. I had two kids. And so that was the idea behind the cookbook. So that was my first cookbook. So that came out in 2022, last year. And it was called A Perfect 10. And to answer your question, I'm an organized person. I like top 10 lists. So I decided that, a good way to share my recipes was just to list them. And so I wanted to write a book that, so if you are told you're going to a dinner at someone's house and you say, what can you bring? And they tell you, bring a salad or bring a side dish or bring a dessert or bring an entree. And then you kind of freak out thinking, oh my God, what am I going to make? I wanted to just to provide a playbook. You can pull it out. And so there's 7 meal periods, everything from breakfast to salads, to vegetable sides, to entrees, to dinners, desserts, and it's my 10 kind of favorite easy go-to recipes that I have, are tried and tested and true in my world. And that was the idea behind the first cookbook. And so that came out last year, and the response was really great. And I started a blog. I started blogging every week recipes and cooking. And next thing you knew, someone who had never even touched Instagram. Now I have 18,000 followers, So I thought, well, I better write another one, while I can. So as a follow-up, I wanted to share another passion of mine, which is organizing, hosting, and throwing amazing parties. I've been doing that as long as I can remember. So I kept the perfect 10 idea going. And I did, instead of 7 meal periods, I did 7 types of parties. So I spent this year throwing these parties and taking pictures and documenting and creating playbooks for what games could I throw at each party. And then I did a top 10 list of everything from drinks to food to desserts, a couple of each for each type of party that you should. So if you're throwing any sort of party, you can pull this book out. You can make the whole recipe, the whole menu, all 10 of them. You can pick and choose. It's kind of a choose your own adventure for throwing a party of any size.
I really liked the way that you organized it. It felt very natural. And when you looked at each party, there was kind of drinks for that party, apps for that party, mains for that party, sides for that party. And all of your recipes, I think why this book probably did appeal to me right away is it felt like I'm a home cook too, and I also wrote a cookbook. And it felt kind of like the same philosophy of why I did it and why I wanted to do it. I'm a cabin entertainer, so I wrote a book about being at the cabin.
Fun, yeah.
And, always being at the cabin's a party. And so it's somewhat similar. I really appreciated too that your parties were kind of different. So a pool party is something that is probably something that they do a lot in Palm Springs. We don't see as much of that here. I liked that you had an award show party because I think those are super fun. What are some of your most requested recipes in this book that people are just loving?
Well, a great question. I'd say for me, I do live in Palm Springs, so I'm pretty lucky with the weather. And so I really chose, when it came down to what kind of parties to highlight, there's unlimited types of parties. I thought about the parties that I like to go to and that I throw. So living in Palm Springs, I think I've really kind of perfected the outdoor brunch, the pool party, happy hour. So things where I can kind of grab people outside with the weather and move it in if we have to. But so I think that for the recipes that people have been responding to, I think, the thing about a party, you would appreciate this, I think, writing a party cookbook, a party menu is a lot different than a dinner, a sit down meal, because you have to have things that you can eat while standing, that are, grab and go, that are handhelds. And so it was pretty kind of challenging to say, okay, what are things that I could, there's one sit down. I did a holiday traditional sit down dinner in there as well. The rest are things you can, grab and go from a table and talk and eat. And so I did a lot of self-serve stations. Those are really popular, I think. And people really like those. My mac and cheese station.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing that for years. I mean, I've been doing that for my staff. I've been doing it for families. I mean, you can throw make your own mac and cheese station, and it's the most popular, item of the night is that mac and cheese station,
Yeah, my radio partner talks about having mac and cheese parties for graduation ceremonies. And, there's different kinds of mac and cheeses that you can make, from the bechamel in a Dutch oven that's cooked to slow cooker. So you really can have a variety of different toppings. And I thought that was a really fun one. Also, you had the walking taco that I'm familiar with in the Frito bag, but you did it in a bag with pita chips and did the Greek pita fixings, which I thought was really smart.
I thought it was different. I love Greek food, so I like a Greek kind of meat mixture. And so it's a really great walking taco is to take a bag of pita chips, make a kind of oregano Greek spice infused turkey, or you could use beef. You could do plant-based, whatever. Throw it in a pita chip bag with some, cucumbers and tzatziki and maybe a hummus sauce or something, and it's awesome. People love it. Yeah,
looked super great. I also you did a recipe for a mole inspired tostada.
well, I think so of the self-serve stations that I cover in this book, I think there's 4 self-serve stations, and you can do little bowls, little jars. I have mac and cheese. I have build your own tostada. So I think I love a crock pot.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
So you can easily make a. So I think in this cookbook I did a mole inspired shredded chicken dish, you just put out the little, the smallest tortilla shells you can find, and then a whole bunch of sides and condiments. And that's a really fun party activity also, is making your own tostada. It's really easy and people always love it.
You also have something that's very Midwestern in here with the pretzel Jello cups.
I love those so much. I just did them the other day. I mean, you know what's great about the pretzel salad cups is that since the cookbook came out, I've been asked to do all sorts of kind of wacky things, like how would you do a football party, or how would you do a Halloween party, or this or that party. And the thing about the pretzel salad Jello cup is you can do any colors you want. So you could do teams of a football match. I mean, I did them in the book. I used it for the pool party, and so we love Aperol spritzes here in
Oh
Palm Springs.
yeah.
And so if you use so I decided to use a peach flavored Jello and make it really beautiful and vibrant orange, and it looks awesome on an outdoor party table where you're also serving pitchers of, say, Aperol spritz or something. So the pretzel salad cups are very popular.
Yeah, that's a big thing in families' houses at Thanksgiving and Christmas around here. They do a pretzel salad, and we also are known for our Snicker salad. Green apples, Snickers, and like
I love those kind of Midwest desserts. We don't have those over here, so I kind of was a unicorn with my pretzel salad cups here in California.
I love it.
And the one other thing that I would add, the one other, I mean, I should have answered the one item that people are loving, and for a self-serve station, is my picadillo cups. They're really, really good. And you can also, you just make a big pot of that picadillo, and you can use any meat mixture you want in there. I use turkey, but you can also do plant-based, or you can do beef, but you really spice it up with the golden raisins and the olives and all the tomato sauce and spices, and it's amazing. And you can make it in enchiladas, you can put it in dips, but it's really fun to just make it with a big pot of like a jasmine. I make a coconut rice, cilantro infused jasmine, and you give little mason jars or bowls next to it. People to get a scoop of the rice. You can even make your own kind of beautiful trifle with it, with rice picadillo, and it's a handheld. It's delicious. It's people are really responding well to that recipe.
Okay, so right now on your shelf, we saw your Stanley Tucci cookbook. Are there like other cookbooks that you find yourself cooking from all the time, or people that you just like really are inspired by?
Yeah, I love Mollier. I love her new cookbook. I'm doing an ad for her, I guess, right now, because I love Home is Where the Eggs Are. I have so many cookbooks here. I'm a real foodie. I surround myself with people that love food. We're always sharing cookbooks. That whole bookcase over here is full of cookbooks.
Oh yeah.
And these are ones that I've, like I said, I'm a collector, I'm a gatherer. I know exactly what recipe I want out of each book. And I tried to, and I really kept that in mind writing these cookbooks. So I think, wouldn't it be great if there was, that's why I like the top 10 list, because sometimes it does get overwhelming when there's so many great recipes and all these cookbooks. You forget where you found them or where they were.
Yeah.
I thought I would just do something really simple that you could just go to, and there's 10 salads, 10 desserts, 10 entrees. And then, and hopefully that would be your go-to for when you're in a bind and you need something quick and good. Let me help you,
Yeah, no, I love that. Now, when does your next book come out? I can't believe you wrote 2 cookbooks already.
I know. So I don't know. It's a great question. Right now I'm, I work by day. I'm a full-time, worker during the day. And then at night, I've just been, again, since, if you go to early 2020, before COVID and the pandemic, I had no cookbooks and I had no plays, no creative writing. I'd written a leadership book years ago, but this has really just inspired me. So now since the pandemic started, I've now published the 2 cookbooks. I have, if you go to my website, A Perfect 10 Cook, you can see my blog, and there's tons of recipes there.
Yeah.
Every week I do new recipes. And I mentioned I've written a few plays now. I have a graphic novel coming out. It's just really kind of lit a fire of creativity that I knew was there, but I just hadn't had time. And I thought I'd kind of passed that stage in life. And now here I am at 56, and it's finally coming out, which is great.
It makes me so happy for you. I am also a late bloomer in the food space. Had a radio show and have talked about food for forever, but finally decided to put pen to paper and contribute my own items, and it's led into a TV show and all these other things that
I
I
made
never
a note.
could have
I
been.
need to get your cookbook. I just made a note of that.
Yeah, I'll send you an email and get your address and I'll send you a copy.
Thank you. Nice.
And
Yeah.
I do travel to Palm Springs on occasion, so I can see looking you up and maybe having a drink or coming to one of your parties at some point.
Yeah, please.
Super fun. Well, it's been great to talk to you. It's a perfect 10, the party edition, and the other edition you can keep your eyes peeled for. How do we find your blog? Could you throw out your website at one more time?
Yeah, it's a perfect 10, the number 10 cook.
Okay.
And you can find both cookbooks. So the two cookbooks, there's one that's just called a perfect 10. And then there's that's 7 different meal periods, 10 recipes each. The new one is called a perfect 10 party edition, 7 different parties, 10 recipes each, everything from cocktail to dessert and all the food in between. And you can get them both on Amazon, but everything's on my website.
I love it. And I like that Mollier is from our part of the country. So we're big fans of hers too. She's been great. Are you watching any good food TV?
Yeah, every day. I'm a I love TV. I love pop culture, but for TV wise, I mean food wise, I mean I watch all the Food Network shows, obviously. I'm super excited. The Great British Bake Off is back. I love
me
Friday
too.
night.
I heard they started with a beaver cake. I don't know why, and I haven't watched it yet, but I heard it's hilarious.
It's really funny. Yeah. So yeah, I watch all those shows. I've been watching Chopped forever. You know, I throw Chopped parties, which is really fun, where it's even if you get a couple of couples or even couples, you pair people up, you bring the weird ingredient items, you make the baskets, you pair people up, everybody else is the judge, you sit there and drink while they cook. And then I've had some really fun Chop nights doing that.
Oh, that sounds really fun. I love that idea.
Yeah, it's great.
Well, thanks for spending time with us. It was really great. And I loved the book and I wish you tons of success. And I'll drop a copy of mine in the mail for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Great. Well,
thanks, Tim. We'll talk soon.
Okay.
Bye-bye.